Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Fabled Lands. Now when last we left off, Devika had returned the rune-carved chest to Olafard the Wizardly and he had rewarded her with an increase in magic ability. And while we could have teleported far, far away, we are instead going to travel much more conventionally. It's time at last to head towards the Devil's Peak via the Cursed Moor. Because we are finally going to attempt to rescue Veneris, the god of storms. You are trekking across the aptly named Cursed Moor. A great rolling expanse of blasted heath stretches before you. Grey clouds hang over a mournful, dirty, water-coloured plain, studded with rocky outcrops and low hills. A raven flutters to the ground nearby, eyeing you curiously. His brothers caw loudly into the echoing sky. Dusk falls, and in the dim twilight a herd of horses comes streaking out of the night straight at you. As they near, it seems to you that their hooves are not touching the ground, and from their manes trail wispy clouds of sparks like tiny stars. We could get out of their way, or like the true servant of the gods that we are, we shall mount one of them. You stand your ground. The ghostly horses stream past you on either side, neighing wildly at the sky. Nimbly, you leap at one and manage to wrap your arms around its neck and swing onto its back. The horse feels quite solid, but appears to be a luminous pale green colour. You look up through a cloud of sparks emanating from the horse's mane just in time to see a rocky wall of a low hill looming up out of the evening mist. Your horse is galloping full tilt right into it. Well, the horse knows what it's doing. Real horses will tend to avoid such collisions. Let's hold on tight. The horse and you hit the wall. There is a bright flash, and you find you have passed straight through into the hill. It must be a fairy mound. The horse you are riding abruptly changes shape in a puff of smoke. You find yourself on the back of a little, knobble-limbed, white-faced goblin who promptly collapses under your weight. You're in a cavern lit by a mouse-sized fairy folk, who flit about in the air, blazing like fireflies. The other horses have also turned into goblins, elves, and fairies of all shapes and sizes. "What have we here?" whispers a pale, dark-eyed elf woman, dressed in silvery cobwebs and wearing a gold crown.
"An overweight mortal sitting on poor old Gobrash, your majesty,"
groans the goblin you are sitting on. You realise you're in great danger here. There's no telling what the fairy folk will do to you. The queen signals to her people and they close in around you ominously. Let us be pure in faith. You recite a devotional prayer to the gods, calling on your faith to aid you. The goblin folk are repelled by your piety and purity of spirit. Even Gobrash finds the strength to get out from under you and run off, such is your effect on them. "Ugh," snarls the queen, recoiling. "Please, your godliness is harmful to us. Here, take this and leave." A jug of fairy mead and an enchanted spear are pushed towards you, which we shall take with us. The wall behind you shimmers and disappears. You step through back into the cold night air of the Cursed Moor. You leave the fairy mound far behind and camp for the night. The next day you resume your travels. You are crossing the western wilderness, an expanse of wild, sparsely populated countryside. A few trappers and woodsmen make a living from the natural resources of the area. A tall spire of rock, a towering anomaly of geology, rises up into the clouds dominating the horizon. A local hunter tells you it is known as Devil's Peak and that the summit is infested with demons. We must climb the peak. You stand at the bottom of the Devil's Peak. It is a massive tower of black rock like a stone tree trunk, bare and branchless, climbing up into the sky. You cannot see the top, for it is shrouded in grey clouds. Thunder and lightning play about the clouded summit. The sides of the peak are almost sheer, but there are many hand and footholds. It can be climbed, but only if you have some climbing gear, which we do indeed have. You begin the ascent. We can make a scouting roll or a thievery roll. Given that our scouting is 6 and our thievery is 4, we'll probably go for the scouting roll. And in the interest of really pushing this, we're going to drink our potion of nature, because this is a quest we do not wish to fail. We would have passed it without the potion anyway, but it's worth making absolutely certain at this early stage in our quest. Normally I wouldn't be purchasing so many potions, but this time I'm wanting to make extra sure. The climb is long and hard, but at last you heave yourself up onto the top of Devil's Peak, a flat expanse of withered black rock. You come across a strange sight. A man lies staked out on the ground asleep. Blue energy crackles up and down his body, and a hefty-looking hammer, glowing red, is still attached to his belt. It is Veneris, the one you have come to free. As you are about to lift the stakes, a whistling, keening blast of ferocious wind engulfs you. You are surrounded by whirling storm demons, vaguely man-shaped creatures of thunderous energy which try to sweep you into the air and off the edge of the peak. You try to recite the rituals of dismissal associated with such demons, and given that it's looking pretty difficult, we're going to use our potion of godliness, which will hopefully assist us in this matter. Ah yes, it does so indeed. The storm demons shrink back with a wailing, mournful cry like wind in the trees. The power of your faith is enough to repel them. You work free one of the stakes holding down Veneris. Veneris wakes up the moment you remove the stake. He rips the other stakes out of the ground and soars into the air with a shout like a clap of thunder. He swings his hammer round his head and bolts of lightning leap forth to strike the storm demons. He rises into the clouds in pursuit of the demons, and as he does so, a bolt of lightning streaks from his hand and strikes you full force. You are thrown backwards, but in amazement are unhurt, despite the fact we now have damage we did not have before. In fact, you feel empowered by the blast. You gain 3 maximum stamina permanently. However, our current stamina has not increased. This is bad. This is 1980s, 1990s JRPG level programming, where they didn't realise that it's like you would literally level up and suddenly be damaged because your maximum health would increase but your current health wouldn't. It's like the amount of damage you have taken should not change when your health increases. You have freed Veneris, the Lord of Thunder. You climb down to the bottom of Devil's Peak. It is a massive tower of black rock like a stone tree trunk, bare and branchless, climbing up into the sky. And this time we don't hear the rains of the thunderstorms anymore. You cannot see the top, for it is shrouded in grey clouds. Thunder and lightning play about the clouded summit. Veneris is probably chasing the storm demons and beating them with his hammer. The sides of the peak are almost sheer, but there are many hand and footholds. It can be climbed, but only if you have some climbing gear. We have no need to climb again. Let us depart and head back down to Cursed Moor. We could have headed off to the roadside tavern and calmed down, but nah, let's risk some random encounters. You are trekking across the aptly named Cursed Moor. A great rolling expanse of blasted heath stretches before you. Grey clouds hang over a mournful, dirty, water-coloured plain studded with rocky outcrops and low hills. We are attacked by wolves. We do not have a healing potion. Let us hope we do not die. 5 to 6, 4 to 7. 5, 4. Do we switch to our spear? Okay, so with 4, 2 points we could do a bit of movement. It's not really going to do us much difference. Let's use our enchanted spear from the fairy folk, because the increased maximum damage will improve our magic. Let us curse this wolf, and then they shall come for us, and call down the cleansing flame of the gods and back into this corner of the field. We still have remaining cooldown, which is going to be a while. Let us defend. And thrust at the wolf with our spear. It closes, let's thrust again, and the beast is defeated. I was lucky. Could have taken some damage there. The wolves are a bit nasty at this early stage in the game for a rank 1 priest. Not being eaten by wolves is no small reward on its own, but you decide to get some wolf pelts as compensation for the stress. Let's head back to Marlock City. Marlock City is a huge, sprawling metropolis enclosed in a fortified wall said to have been built 1,000 years ago by the ancient Shadar Empire. It is the capital city of Sokhara. Marlock City was once known as Sokar, until General Grieve Marlock led the army in bloody revolt against the old king Corrin VII and had him executed. The general renamed the city after himself. It is now a crime to call it Sokar. The general lives in the old king's palace and calls himself the protector general of all Sokar. Whereas the old king was corrupt, the general rules with a fist of iron. Some people like the new regime. Others are royalists, still loyal to Nergan, the heir to the throne, who has gone into hiding somewhere. Outside the city gates hang the bodies of many dead people. Labels around their necks read, "Rebels executed by the state for the good of the people." "You had best behave yourself if you don't want to end up like one of them," grunts a guardsman, nodding towards the swinging corpses as you pass through the great eagle-headed gates of Marlock City. To leave Marlock City by sea, or to buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the Harbour Master. Well, we shall not go to the Harbour Master, we shall instead head to the Temple District. Sokhara's capital boasts a remarkable spiritual landscape featuring 3 grand temples, each occupying its own distinct location amidst the city's bustling streets. Additionally, it is home to the unique House of Priests, serving as the administrative heart of the polytheistic religions revered in both Sokhara and Golnir, which we will soon be visiting. For now, we shall visit the House of Priests, which is an impressive building, a roundhouse of multicoloured bricks. The myriad colours give it a bizarre and garish look calculated to unsettle the visitor. Inside, 100 offices teem with the administration of the polytheistic religion of Sokhara and Golnir. Clearly a tiresome workload. Let's pay 10 shards as a contributor in order to enter. The chief administrator is overjoyed to see you. The priests already know you were successful in freeing Veneris, the Lord of Thunder, because their crystal ball shows them that the storm demons have been driven away. As a reward, you receive the tuition of several high priests. We have gained a rank, proceeding to rank 2, which has increased our maximum stamina. This has healed us. So the non-ranked stamina increase did not increase our current, but this did. There's no mention of healing here. You have also gained a new skill. Choose one of the following items. Pay attention to requirements, if any. of the spells or skills. You must meet them in order to learn or use them. We have archery, which will improve our ability of bows, crossbows and slings. Weapon mastery, which will improve our ability with close combat weapons, and combat dodge, which will improve our defense by 1. Now, our defense is currently a 6. That's free from armor, free from base. Isn't rank factored into defense anymore? Combat dodge is a good skill, a good solid skill that will see us through the early ranks. Weapon mastery may be very handy. One more dose of pillows. Sorry, people, I'm very sleepy tonight. You know what? I like combat dodge, but my gut's saying weapon mastery would be good. Let's go combat dodge for now. There we go. And let's learn that ability. Now that is not represented on our character sheet for some reason, but it is represented here as a passive ability. Your gain in rank has taught you much. You feel tougher, luckier, and generally better able to deal with trouble. Visit me anytime, says the Chief Administrator when you leave. Let us head to the marketplace and sell off this non-magical sword. When we were last in Marlock City, we also gained this quest of the greatest story, which can be sought somewhere in the foothills of the Spine of Harkoon to the north. Now, ignoring the blatant yellow exclamation mark on the map, this journey can take us through Karan Baru, where we can sell off these wolf pelts. So let's take our leave of Sakara and head up to Trefoil, once again, where we started this episode. The main road between Marlock City, Trefoil and Karan Baru is well maintained with regular guard posts. The Sakarans are nothing if not efficient. A lucky find in the bushes near the road. Someone must have left in a hurry as you stumble on an abandoned campfire and a fine sword lying on the ground. A replacement for one we just sold. Let's continue onwards. The city of Trefoil is a terrifying vision of apocalyptic destruction. It had once been a thriving crossroads town, but now it is a burnt-out hulk. It was almost razed to the ground when it declared for the late king during the recent civil war and tried to hold out against the army of Grieve Marlock, the current Protector General of Sakara. It was then sacked by the general's mercenaries, and General Marlock is now trying to rebuild it. Craftsmen are hard at work everywhere. We could visit Olafard the Wizardly, but we will not do that this time. We're heading up to the roadside tavern. You join the much-travelled road that connects Trefoil and Karan Baru. The traffic mostly consists of convoys of troops and supplies. Eventually you come to the Weary Pilgrim Tavern, a way station between the cities, where we could stay and restore stamina were we lacking any. I'm going to hold off on trying to gather more rumours just yet, although we should probably do that everywhere in the country at least once. The road is nearly blocked by wagons and supply convoys. A troop of soldiers forces its way through the throng. The men bang heads indiscriminately to clear people out of the way. We are not banged on the head. Let's head to Karan Baru. Karan Baru is a medium-sized town that acts as a way station between the citadel to the north and the rich towns to the south. It is a garrison town, Many supplies, arms, and soldiers move through Karan Baru on the north-south trail. Shops, temples, traders, and the like have sprung up here to serve the needs of the military. There is also a sizable mining community, for the mines of Saqqara lie in the Bronze Hills just outside town, and a slave market where poor unfortunates sold into slavery are brought back to work in the mines. The Karan Baru market consists of several covered arcades. Much of its stock is for miners and soldiers, and it is run with business-like efficiency by the Saqqaran military. Let's head to market, where we will sell the short sword and the 2 wolf pelts, keeping the original one we gained earlier. There are some very expensive items here. This plate armor is really nice. We could have got some from the dragon, but we chose otherwise. Now. Brawler. That's an expensive skill we could barely afford. Contains fighting techniques against multiple opponents. When there are at least 2 enemies within 2 range, your damage is increased by 2. That sounds really great. But it would be 400 of our 402 shards. Let's head out of town and take the northern road. You're on the road between the citadel of Velis Corin and Fort Meref. This is quite rarely travelled. The military guard posts are few and far between. Nothing untoward happens, so let's head up to the eastern foothills of the mountain range. You have come to the foothills of the spine of Harkoon. The great mountains rise up majestically before you, their snow-capped peaks wreathed in clouds. You find a clear, cold stream where you drink your fill and replenish your water supply. Climbing the spine of Harkoon is no easy task, but we do have climbing gear. After a hard climb, you are halfway up the side of a mountain when you discover a thin, precarious path leading up. The sun beats down and you are sweating heavily. You take a swig of water from your canteen and proceed up the path. After a while, you have to stop to take more water. To your horror, your water supply has turned sour and undrinkable. This looks like it could be some kind of sorcery. We have a magic roll to make here, and a potion to use to make it a little bit easier. Let us drink this potion, which has not turned sour, hopefully. There we are. You sense that sorcery is afoot. You make a few magical divinations which tell you that the path is cursed. It will sour the water supply of anyone that travels upon it. However, you can tell that the curse affects only the path. There is just enough room to squeeze your way up beside it, hugging the rock face. You find your water returns to a state that is drinkable. Eventually, the path leads to a bubbling well of spring water in the rocks just to the opening of a cave. You refill your canteen, then explore the cave. The interior of the cave is cool and refreshing, a paradise compared with the savage heat of your grueling climb. You find a man floating cross-legged in the middle of the air. He is dressed only in a loincloth and is painfully thin. His face is shrouded in a great luxuriant growth of glossy black hair, a beard like no other you have ever seen. At the sight of you, he gives an exasperated sigh and says, "I am Damor the Hermit. A hermit. That means I like to live alone. Got that? Alone, so go away." "I nearly died getting here, old man," you reply testily. "Yes, you'd have to be pretty tough to get through the curse I put on the path, I suppose," he says somewhat apologetically. We should ask him about the greatest story ever told. You remember a bard in a tavern told you that Damor the Hermit, and that he knew the secret of the greatest story ever told, so you ask him about it. Ah, says Damor, I have waited for one such as you. He tells you the secret of the greatest story. Well, my young adventurer, destiny beckons, for it is fated that your life will be the greatest story ever told. As you consider this, you feel a sense of momentary enlightenment and gain a point of charisma permanently, taking us up to a 7 when including the 2-point bonus for the magic mandolin.
Right. That's that, Sister Moore. Now go away and don't come back.
For a few hours he lifts the curse that soured your water so you can make it down again safely. And here, at the bottom of the foothills, we shall take our departure from the mountains. Now, do we want to go to Fort Maref, for the citadel of Veneris, or back down south? What are we planning to do next, I wonder? I think, as a rank 2 character, we should soon be finding the confidence to head west into Golnir. There may still be some things we would like to do in Saqqara. Probably in Yellowport, so let's head back down that way. You're on the road between the citadel of Veneris and Fort Maref. This is quite rarely travelled. The military outposts are few and far between. We drink from a sweet spring which would heal up to 3 stamina, and then make our way back down to Karan Baru, where we will head down the main road to the south, to the roadside tavern, where we will not yet purchase drinks, and to Yellowport. Yellowport is the second largest city in Saqqara. It is mainly a trading town and is known for its exotic goods from distant Ankon Konu way to the south. The Stinking River brings rich deposits of sulfur from the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town, where it is extracted and stored in the large waterfront warehouses run by the Merchants Guild. From here, the mineral is exported all over Harkoona. Unfortunately, all that sulfur has its drawbacks. The stink is abominable, and much of the city has a yellowish hue. The river is so full of sulfur that it is virtually useless as a source of food or of drinking water. However, the demand for sulfur, especially from the sorcerers' guilds, is great. Politically, much has changed in the past few years. The old and corrupt king of Saqqara, Corin VII, has been deposed and executed in a military coup. General Grieve Marlock and the army now control Saqqara. The old council of Yellowport has been indefinitely dissolved, and a provost marshal, Marlows Marlock, the general's brother, appointed as a military governor of the town. To leave Yellowport by sea, buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the harbour master. What do we want to do here? Well, if we go to market, we could sell our enchanted sword for 400 shards. I'm not sure that's the right move. Would they also buy our enchanted spear? They would, also for 400 shards. Okay. Now, what else do we want to do? So, magic treasure map. We don't need that. Well, it's not magic, it's just a treasure map. We don't need that just yet. There are a few quests here in Yellowport we might wish to undertake. But I'm thinking maybe that's something we can do in the next episode. So I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all in the very next one, when I will hopefully be nowhere near as sleepy. I'll bid you all farewell, and see you all next time. Cheerio, everybody!